Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to explain the elements of design. The elements of design are the tools or ingredients that an artist uses to make a successful piece of artwork. If you were cooking at home in your kitchen, you would follow a recipe and use the ingredients that recipe called for. For instance, if you're making cookies, you probably would need some flour, some sugar, some butter, some eggs, and if you were making my personal favorite, some chocolate chips. You would measure out the amount of each ingredient that your recipe called for, put them in your mixing bowl, stir them up, put them on your cookie sheet, and bake them for the required amount of time. An artist uses their ingredients to create their artwork. Their ingredients are the elements of design. I have made a chart for you of each of the 7 elements of design. This will be a handy reference for you to keep throughout the year. You can either print it out or save it on your computer. During the year, we're going to do lots of different art projects that use either one or more of these design elements. I'm going to explain each of those design elements briefly so you have a better understanding of them. The first design element is line. You can make your lines go in different directions. You can make them go across your paper horizontally, go up and down on your paper vertically, or go on an angle on your paper diagonally. You can make your lines thick or you could make your lines thin. You can also make your lines have different characteristics. You could make a straight line, you could make a curved line. You could make a line that's dotted or dashed like on a road, or wavy, looped, zigzagged, or even scalloped, like the waves on an ocean. Our next design element is shape. Shape can be divided into 2 different categories. Shapes can either be geometric or organic. You're probably familiar with geometric shapes like circles, squares and rectangles, triangles, and shapes that have a few more angles like octagons, hexagons, or pentagons. Shapes can also be organic. They are shapes that remind us of things in nature, like leaves and flowers and butterflies, or this apple. You can make your own organic shape by making a loose, free-formed, wiggly outline. Shapes are 2-dimensional. They have length and width. Shapes can become forms when you make them appear 3-dimensional. Forms can be divided into geometric and organic forms as well. When you make a circle appear 3-dimensional, it becomes a sphere. When you make your triangle become 3-dimensional, it becomes a cone. When you make your square appear to be 3-dimensional, it becomes a cube. When you make your rectangle appear to be 3-dimensional, it becomes a cylinder. 3-dimensional shapes, they have height and width and depth. Organic forms are things like people, like this model of a person, or animals, or flowers, or fruits, or vegetables, or objects like boats and cars. Forms are 3-dimensional, and an artist uses different tricks to make their shapes appear 3-dimensional. Our next design element is color. I have our 6 basic rainbow colors here. And our 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, can be used to make our 3 secondary colors, orange, green, and violet. You might see them arranged on a color wheel with the secondary colors positioned in between the primary colors that create them. You also might see a neutral color in the middle. Colors can also be divided into different families, like the warm colors. Yellow, orange, and red remind us of things that are hot or warm, like the sun or a nice warm fire in our fireplace. And the colors that are opposite those on the color wheel, green, blue, and violet, we refer to as the cool colors. Colors can also have value. They can be light or dark. You might have seen some of these strips of paper in a paint store. Those are the different values of the color. The next design element is space. An artist can make things look as if they have depth or space by doing different things as well. For instance, an artist might overlap their shapes in a picture, and the shape that you can see the entire edges of, you would know was in front of the shape that you can't see the entire edges of. So right now, my triangle is in front of my octagon. If I reverse that, I can see my whole octagon, so now the octagon is in front of the triangle. Sometimes we refer to the positive and negative space as well. The positive space is the leaf, all the filled in areas in the center of my paper. The empty spaces around my leaf are referred to as the negative spaces. And our last design element is texture. Texture is the surface feeling of an object. An artist uses lines in different ways to create the feeling of texture in their artwork. So they might use lines that remind us of the soft fur of this bunny. Or they might use lines that remind us of the prickly twine. Or they might use lines that show us the bumpy texture on the sea urchin shell. So when you use the 7 elements of design, you can create some beautiful artwork, just like these examples that are famous artist works. They are showing us line and shape and form and color and value and space and texture. So when you take your different design elements, your shape, your form, your texture, your color, your value, your space, and your line, and you mix up all those different elements in different ways, you can create some beautiful artwork. We'll be doing lots of different art projects this year where you will get to experiment with those different elements of design. I hope you enjoyed that. I can't wait to see what you create.